Alrighty, we're back. Uh, quick impressions so far?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's yeah. Um,
The perfectly legal method of reading this that we have. Sadly, chapter 14 was a terrible translation,
yeah.
but luckily, everything they explained in chapter 14 is explained again in chapter 15. So there's no problems whatsoever. It's great.
Yippee!
It's fine. It's fine.
Mm,
Once again, not a lot of information being added to my chart, just some like exchanging around and changing stuff so that it's easier to understand.
and some fixes.
And a little bit of fixes, yeah, so that we can better understand stuff. All right. Chapter 13.
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13.
So, as we said at the end of chapter 12, where I correctly, as always, guessed, oh yeah, chapter 13 is going to be a fight scene between the group and Sojo, and they're going to keep cutting back to him explaining, and that's why they cut away from it. Much like a lot of this manga is just like, yeah, we've definitely said this stuff out loud, but we're not letting you hear it because we love revealing stuff. God, we love setups and payoffs, and we want to keep them as far apart from each other as possible. All right, so chapter 13 starts with the Sojo or Cloud Gouger extraction team or whatever they're called on the roof, looking cool, ready to fight against the guy. Apparently, Cloud Gouger has a like cloud dragon. I didn't know that had that, but it looks pretty neat, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that is a dragon. I hadn't really thought about it. I thought it was just clouds with a like very specific design sequence to it.
Yeah,
But no, that is a dragon.
that's a dragon. He Sojo is excited to fight against them so that he can better understand and better utilize the sword, because that's his main goal. The girl with the pigtails and the I'm 90% sure living thing inside of the hair tie
Yeah.
uses sorcery, which I believe is earth manipulation, to like pick up the entirety of the block that they're on and move them away from normal society so that they can't be hurt if he decides to just go, all right, time to cause mass collateral damage again. So now they're fighting on top of a like platform made in the sky. And then we cut to Chihiro explaining the abilities, and we finally get to find out that yes, the three abilities are Mei is thunder, Yui is ice, and Ko is water. And in chapter 10, when we talked about we don't know if he used one of the sword's abilities in order to get away or not, he did, because he used Ko, which is water, which was either releasing a shit ton of water or releasing steam in order to hide his escape. So yeah, we learned something about chapter 10 right now. Yippee!
Yippee!
He's explaining the power to them. You find out, oh my god, one of the people in the group isn't there, because we assumed the main guy, Azami, from the government was a part of the Cloud Gouger extraction team, but actually one of the other guys is at the base watching them in order to gather information, because this isn't just a like kill Sojo group, this is a Cloud Gouger extraction team. So we gotta like beat Sojo, take the sword, and then make sure they can't take the sword back. So that's what the last guy on their team is doing. All right, let me just explain the powers real quick. So Mosquito Guy, the guy with the mask, he has hardening. Effectively, he like makes his hands and arms sharp, which is
It looked
neat,
like
I
he covered them
guess.
with rocks. And also his nose. Don't
You
forget.
can guess that,
He
yeah.
covered his nose with the hardening too, made it like a sharp spike.
As I said, the pigtail girl has earth manipulation. The the glasses guy, we're assuming it's like impact or something like that,
Yeah.
because he throws knives and they hit a wall and he goes, okay, the knives are gonna keep going though, and then they keep going, and then later he's able to like move water with his hands
Yeah.
somehow. So we're assuming that's like impact. And then the guy with the mask has big hands.
The Not the mosquito mask, but the guy with just the mouth
The
mask.
gas mask.
Yeah, the gas
mask guy.
He has big arms, big hands.
Big hands. We don't see the dyed hair guy do anything.
He's right there.
Yeah, we don't see him do anything.
Yeah, he's just there. He's just chilling.
I think he's protecting the Earth Manipulation Girl, because the Earth Manipulation Girl says, like, this is very draining.
And they're trying to get to the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just traveling. He's protecting her while she's moving a giant platform that has the fight going on, and then a small one for her and dyed hair guy to hang out on.
And she's also raising like walls to block his lightning attacks and stuff.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool that she doesn't have to be connected to the earth that she is manipulating.
Yeah.
So it's not like Avatar rules of earthbending.
You don't have... Never mind. So yeah, the fight goes on. The guy who can harden is capable of blocking the sword. The guy with
the sword.
The mosquito guy is blocking. The glasses guy is throwing knives. When he gets blocked by ice, he's pushing them through it. The guy with big hands is doing big hand things. They're constantly attacking him, so that we get this explained in another flashback. You want to keep constant pressure on him at all times, because one of the most simple attacks you can do with the sword is to charge up your biggest Mei, which is thunder and lightning, and just kill everything around you. But the problem is you have to charge for that. So the second easiest thing you can do is a Ko, which gives you a bunch of water around you, and then use a Mei through the water in order to fuck everyone up around you.
AoE attack.
It gives you an AoE attack, but it's nowhere as good as a fully charged Mei, because it doesn't deal as much damage as a fully charged Mei.
I think what he was saying is that you don't give him a chance to charge up, so he uses a weaker Mei to attack everyone.
Yeah.
And then he charges up and does a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also a little actually, it's just lightning. Thunder is just the sound.
I know.
No, why'd you say thunder and lightning?
Because that's what I've written down. Okay.
I just wanted to sound smart.
Uh-huh. So effectively the plan is just make him use the easiest and most like straightforward plan possible, so that he's easier to track and like trick him with. So once he does the Ko and the Mei, because of the fact that it's a much lower powered Mei, since it's not charged up, they get hurt a lot, but they just take that because that's easily survivable, and they're trained government agents, so they can handle some pain. And then once you get hit by that, as my beautiful wife said, once you're like once you're reeling from getting hit, he's gonna go, all right, now it's time to use a fully charged Mei. And so once you do that, then you use the consequences of using a Mei to channel or using a Ko to channel your Mei through it. I'm just gonna say water and lightning and stuff like that instead of the names of the attacks. Once you have a bunch of water on the ground that you know lightning will travel through, you effectively now have a way to get around the lightning's like AoE stuff, because instead of going straight for everyone, it'll just go through the water. So if you have a way to get the water to no longer be touching anyone, then you can't be hurt by the fully charged Mei, which is what the impact guy does. And others just kind of jump out of the water.
He just creates holes in the pool of water so that it can't hit people.
Yeah.
So it's just a wasted attack.
If you're not in the water, you're not getting hit by the lightning, yeah.
Yo. Yeah, then they just explain all of that. Yeah. And then they're like, all right, it's time to go in and fuck them up.
But Sojo is pretty mad since they're dodging the attack, and in the same way that the Chihiro did. So Sojo is upset, like, why? It's the same shit again. You couldn't think of anything different? He's a little baby. He's a little baby back bitch.
And then we get to cut to Chihiro.
We get to cut to Chihiro killing a bunch of non-sorcerers, so they just fall down like domino pieces. The guy who he was interrogating at the end of chapter 12 is giving him more information on where to go. There's an entrance into the base that isn't guarded by sorcerers, but the problem is if you go that way, then to get further into the base, you're gonna have to encounter sorcerers.
Yeah.
So then he starts explaining something I don't like. The enchanted blades have a true realm beyond the theoretical. So there's a lot of material in existence that's like, oh, this sword has the power of ranged slashes, but you know, we don't really want to focus on the fact that it has ranged slashes. You have to think about like, what is the concept of a ranged slash, you know? Because like, if you're able to do one slash really big, what happens if I think about it in a different way of doing 30 small slashes? So it has less power, but like, you know, a chainsaw is better than an axe, even though an axe can use a lot more of your strength and that kind of thing. God, it's so cool.
I mean, I thought it was neat. Like, there's the basic power that every sword can use, but if you truly understand it, you can unlock a better use of it.
Effectively, it's like, these are people who have had the swords for maybe a year or more, and these are weapons that are classified as weapons of mass destruction. So when you look at Cloud Gouger and you go, okay, it has lightning, ice, and water. This is the thing that won a war by itself. This is the weapon of mass destruction. When the guy uses it, he's like, all right, I can kill an entire block. And it's like, these things destroyed countries. And so now it's just explaining how if you're bad at the sword, these things can destroy like a city block. But the better you get at it, the better like range and damage you can deal with it. Which I get. It's just like,
You don't like it.
I'm not a big fan of Awakenings anymore. I think One Piece kind of ruined this for me.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. Like, Naruto did it where it's like, oh yeah, you can learn how to use the Rasengan, but you can use your own special twist on it. And oh my god, Rasen Shuriken? And then Naruto's son's dad's child, Boruto, he infuses it with different elements and...
Yeah, we completely disagree on this then. I wasn't talking about Naruto at all.
Well, and then there's also, like, Dragon Ball Z.
What does Dragon Ball Z have to do with it?
Awakening, like, you get your potential unlocked and, oh my god, now you can go ultimate form.
Yeah, we're not talking about the same thing at all.
Okay.
I'm talking about, like, the string fruit. So, like, hypothetically, the string fruit, one of the abilities that it has is, like, to create and control strings. And effectively in One Piece, there's a lot of, like, simple, like, abilities that you get. Like, let's say you have gold. You have the ability to control and manipulate gold, but once you get better with the fruit, you then understand that gold can also mean like a gold standard. And then that means that you're like the best at everything because you have the power over gold, and gold can mean gold standard, stuff like that. That is a thing that happens in One Piece. That's the thing that annoyed me about it. Not like infusing elements into it.
I was just looking at it as a sense of awakening. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're thinking about different things.
We're talking about, yes, I agree. It's weird. But I don't think it's gonna go in that direction. It seems to be effectively like, depending on how you use the sword will change with you.
That's what I was talking about.
As you better understand it, the sword will technically better understand you. So its techniques will change fundamentally in order to help you as you're helping it. That kind of thing. That can be cool, but like it absolutely can be terrible.
So like two people can wield the same sword, but they can get different effects out of it once they truly understand it.
Like the sword will let them do different things.
Yeah.
All right, that was chapter 13. What did you think of it?
I thought it was neat. I like the concept of My favorite part was the girl lifting everyone on giant chunks of rock away from the city,
Mhm.
and how they're not just like, oh yeah, she's doing that, so she's in the background. She's actually still helping, and she has someone protecting her in case the guy decides, oh yeah, if I just hit her, the rocks will fall, and blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
I think it's neat that everyone has their own specific powers and different ways to utilize them. And not only are fuck, they all have to work together to be able to beat him. And I don't know. I want to see how either he's going to beat 5 people at once, or how they're going to defeat him. Like how their powers match up to each other, if it's one sided or not, and blah 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 blah. And also just I like the explanation for how the power is advancing and how the power is scaling. So it was good exposition in my eyes this time.
Yeah, I love exposition. I loved the chapter as a whole. The only problem I have is the exposition. As I've said before, I don't really like how they're splitting it up of like, all right, I'm going to explain the powers of the sword to you so that you can better manage this fight. And then they get into the fight instead of just having him explain it right then and there. So then interspersed throughout the fight, they'll have the explanation of the abilities and like what the plan is. It's just, it's I don't really like it that much.
Yeah.
I'd give that one like a the fight the fight drags because of the fact that it keeps going back. So I'm going to have to give
Yeah.
it a like 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
You just said you loved everything about it. How are you agreeing with me?
can I fucking say my thing?
Oh my
Damn.
god.
I do like when they explain things. I don't like when they interrupt what's going on to explain it, and I don't like when there's multiple points in one chapter. I would prefer one thing to happen, and then the next chapter they explain the other part. Like, finish what you're doing and then move on to the next. Um, I still think the chapter was really good because we got a lot of what was happening in the fight and a lot of what was happening with Chihiro with the exposition to kind of tie everything neatly together. I think it was done pretty well. But there is still the whole aggravating part of exposition to interrupt what's going on.
Okay.
I think I'm badly explaining this. I'd give it maybe 5.5. It's just barely above average.
Okay. All right.
Just because I enjoyed what happened doesn't mean that I liked everything with how it was happening.
Okay, chapter 14.
This is the one that was poorly translated, and they call them demon swords and necromancers.
We don't have to go into any of that. We can just explain what's going on. So the chapter starts with them back in the hospital room explaining the concept of like the sword itself, or Sojo can learn the sword better in order for the abilities that he knows of right now and is explaining. They could either be different or he could have new abilities. So you'll have to watch out for that kind of thing. And then we cut to Shiba?
Shiba.
Yeah, that's Shiba. Shiba is effectively explaining, like, all right, we're going to go in and save Char. You go in the direct way and try to deal with them and get Char back. I'm going to go look into this random building that is next to it that goes underground in the hopes of being able to find out where the underground auction is happening or figure out what's going on over there. Because if it's being guarded, something important has to be in there, right? And it's being guarded by a few sorcerers.
Necromancers.
Uh-huh. Shiba is effectively telling Chihiro, you can't fight. One of your arms is completely gone. If there's going to be a fight between you and non-sorcerers, go for it. You can do that easily. But if a sorcerer shows up, you get out of there so that you can explain to me what their abilities are so that I can fight. So he goes through pretty easily. As we said in the last chapter, we see him kill the non-sorcerers and just kind of walk in. So he's spying on the sorcerers that are guarding the door. And as he's looking at them, he is attacked from behind by someone. And then we cut back to Shiba outside looking at the guards for the shed and is like, should I fight these guys or should I turn around? Because there's no way that Chihiro's actually going to be able to get through this without fighting, and I don't want him to fight. And so then we cut to Char. This is as jarring as it is in the chapter. We cut to Char, where she's hearing the researchers that are in the room that are being guarded by the sorcerers outside, hearing them talk about the fact that a guy with a enchanted sword is here, and Char is like, oh my god, is that Chihiro? So then we cut back outside to Chihiro and the sorcerer guards. They're complaining about the fact that, oh my god, what are the guards doing? Why were they hired if they're just here, if they're not like actually guarding? And the guy that blindsided him is like, oh yeah, he smells like blood, and all of the guards outside are dead with strikes to their vital points. And he smells like the blood of the people. That's how he was able to find him while he was hiding, and how he was able to sneak attack him. So then there's a seed on the ground that grows into a guy with a sword for an arm. And so Chihiro tries to use black in order to cut through the guy. But the problem is, with his left arm, which is his main arm, being out of commission, his black doesn't have the strength to cut the guy. So he's realizing that's a problem and trying to get out of the way. But then he gets attacked again by another sorcerer. He's pushed into a wall. The guards start making fun of him and telling him he's here to like just die. So he uses a black slash in order to get rid of the lights in the situation. They turn back on different lights.
The spare lighting.
He gets away in the time frame, and then the guards start talking about like, all right, we need everyone to split up and look around the place and lock all the doors you can find. We have to kill him now. He's weakened, he has an enchanted blade, and we can sell that shit for cash money. So then we cut back to Chihiro, and Chihiro is thinking about the concepts of like, if my arms were in perfect condition, would I have been able to kill them? Am I a failure for not being able to save Char as I am right now, even though I'm wounded? Or can I just chalk this up to, I'm wounded, I'm not in my perfect condition, so there's no reason for me to even try? Should I just wait for Shiba and let Shiba deal with this? And so he starts thinking about how whenever he's talked to like sorcerers or people who are trying to kidnap Char, they're all dick bags. And then he has a flashback to his dad, and the conversation between him and his dad is effectively like, hey dad, I can't be like you. I've realized that. I think that you're a really good guy, and I base a lot of the stuff I do off of you. And the fact that I can't be more like you was kind of causing me mental stress. And his dad is like, bro, your mom was way better than me at so much shit, and you're just like your mom in a lot of ways that matter. And instead of trying to be like me, you should be your own person. We named you Chihiro when you were born. We didn't name you Rukahira, or we didn't name you Kunishigi, which is his dad's name effectively. And so you have to learn how to do things by using both the parts that you got from your father and your mother, which makes it into you. And so he gets back up, and then we cut back to Char, and the researchers grab Char and are going to go take her to the place to get cut up, because of the fact that, well, the guy who the guy who broke in, it ran away, and all the sorcerers are chasing him. We don't really have time to be like wasting because we need as much of your material as possible, and you take time to regrow. So we're just gonna grab you and do this while they're hunting him down because obviously they're gonna kill him. And so then we cut back to the guards talking about like, oh my god, what an idiot. He's spattered in the blood of the non-sorcerers, so I can smell him from miles away. There's no way he can hide. And then we see a bunch of like really small goldfish all over the place. Real small black goldfish all over the place. And then we see Chihiro at the end of the hallway from the guards, and he uses black in order to attack someone, and then the chapter ends. What do you think of the chapter without bringing up the fact that most things are mistranslated?
It was kind of all over the place. I didn't like the constant cutaways and the explanations. Like, yes, they were important explanations, but God, it was just really jarring. I'd give it like a 3 or a 4.
Nothing else to say about it?
Not really, no.
Yeah, it's just kind of a very, very straightforward chapter. I really liked it. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I think that the cutting back and forth and stuff is fine. They do it really well, so it was enjoyable. I also like the flashback to his dad. His dad is incredibly stupid, and he's the first character in this story that I can say is like a quirk given a personality, but he does it well, and I like the interactions, and I like him like getting more in tune with himself and realizing the fact that he doesn't have to be his father. It's pretty nice to have that character development here. And I like the I'm a power scaler. I'm an aura merchant. I like the scenes of him just standing in hallways where it's really dark. I think that's really cool.
He's just standing there
Menacingly. It's good. I loved it. That was a good chapter. I'd give that easily a 7 out of 10. That was like way above average for me. I love that shit.
Why do we disagree on these things so much?
Because if I let you, or if I go first, you'll just change your score to whatever I said it is. And
that's why I gave my score first.
Yeah. All right. Chapter 15.
You know, maybe thinking about it.
Chapter 15. We cut to a flashback of Char's. Oh my god, a flashback to Char's backstory? We've never had that before.
And we get to meet her mother. Because apparently she doesn't have a dad.
She has a dad.
We'll get into that when we get there.
So, we cut to Char and her mom talking. They're eating, and they're talking about the fact that, like, oh my god, we can't let anyone know that when you fell and scraped your knee healed almost instantly, because if someone finds out about that, they're gonna tell the bad people, and the bad people are gonna come by and hurt us. So you have to be very careful about anyone knowing about this. And so then Char is like, oh, did you tell anyone about it? And her mom is like, yeah, I did. The man I loved. Aww. But he got scared and ran away when Char was born. And so it's like you have to choose very carefully about who you tell so that you can be happy. And Char is like, are you happy if the person you told ran away? And the mom is like, oh, I'm the happiest person on the planet because we're together. And then we cut back to Chihiro with all the tiny little goldfish
coming out of the sword. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that looks really neat. What?
So Chihiro is thinking, all right, Char, you got kidnapped. It's my fault you got kidnapped. It's time to put an end to all of this. I'm going to sever all of the blah 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 that's blah 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 whatever. And so he uses black in a new way. He uses black scatter, and so then he like barely flicks his wrist at someone, and then they get split in half. And the guy thought he was safe because he was wearing iron gauntlets, which he didn't explain at any point that he was doing that. It's just kind of like his dying monologue of like, oh shit, I was wearing iron gauntlets and they're cut in half. And so then we get the explanation of For the exact same energy cost of doing a really big energy slash that most of it is going to miss the target, you can instead aim it very finely and cut in the same place effectively 30 times. Whoa.
And it's like a hot knife through butter.
It's like a chainsaw through a tree. Call back. You remember when I said that? Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you remembered that one. If you didn't, I'll kill you. So Kuro Scatter is pretty cool in my opinion. In exchange for blah 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 blah, he's effectively learning how to use his skills with less spirit energy drain. Then we get this line of, he didn't create it from a place of logic. Instead, it was a sudden breakthrough to compensate for his ravaged body, created by instinct, and in that state of extreme concentration, his innate understanding was accelerated. That's a lot of words.
That is a lot of words. A lot of big words.
I'm sure that makes sense to somebody. Then he uses Nishiki, which is the attacks do more damage with high density spirit energy, and also he's cloaked in it, so he's even faster. So one panel he's there, the next panel he's not, and then the next panel the guy who's saying damn where'd he go,
oh my woo.
That's crazy.
And they're all just decapitated.
They're just decapitated. And then we cut back
and then it's the panel that we have in the background.
And then it's the panel we have in the background.
Yippee!
Then we cut back to Char's memories of the day that the Char's mom and Char got kidnapped because someone ratted out that the Kiyanagi clan was living there, which Char, Kiyanagi, and her mom. It's Sojo! Oh my god! Sojo is explaining the concept of if you eat the flesh of a Kiyanagi, you will become immortal. So what happened and why there's basically only Char and her mom was rich people decided, ah, fuck, I want to be immortal. So they culled the entirety of the Kiyanagi clan to eat them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when someone saw Char and her mom, they sold that information to Sojo and then took her and her mom. So now they're in a cage. And Sojo's talking about the concept of like, man, you must really hate your kid if you decided to give birth to another Kiyanagi in this fucked up world. But whatever. Thanks, I guess. I'm always glad to have more genetic diversity in my Kiyanagi meat to throw into the... Oh god, what's the metal called? Detinina? My Detinina vat.
I don't know. I don't think that's the right word.
Detinate? Detinina.
Detensky.
The where?
Near the top. Lower. Lower. Right there. Datenseki.
From Datenseki. Yippee. Alright. And so Char's mom is saying, apologizing for the fact that, oh, I'm so sorry. If you didn't have my blood in you, you could have had a happy life in childhood. But because you're my kid, you're going to have to be tortured for the rest of your days. And Char throws back the same line of, I'm the happiest I can be because I'm with you. This is where we got the thumbnail because I'm a funny guy and I think I'm funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to present day where the guards are explaining all of this to Char and the fact that like, damn, that's crazy. We were at that lab and your mom burned the place down, killed a bunch of people just so you could escape, and now you're right back here on the exact same table. It took us a while to rebuild the machines, but you know, pretty easy to rebuild it all once we had the time. And so then we cut back to the guards. I did not see that. Oh my god. So we cut back to outside and and then there's also this.
Yeah.
Man, the one chapter I decided not to look at the art. What's up?
Is that... He's a bad guy, right? Yeah, he's the one that punched Chihiro.
Yeah, he's the one who punched him into the wall. And so we cut back outside to the guards talking, and we can't see Chihiro killing people, but we can see the heads flying.
Hi.
And then we cut to the ceiling where the guy who grew out of the plant is standing, and he's looking down at the ground and sees all of the dead people. And so he's like, hey, the Chihiro's outside. And so then he's in the same panel as Chihiro. The next panel, he's falling from the ceiling, dead. And then the two guards who are explaining, haha, your mom's dead and we killed her, and haha, we're evil. Oh my god, they have this like demon cloak transformation where like their heads turn into like
Onis.
Demon masks, and then their heads are gone.
And can we also mention they had like two halves of hair. One had two like lines of hair but with a bald patch in the middle. The other one just had the hair in the middle, so together they made a full head of hair.
That's true.
And now they're dead, so they don't matter.
And then Char is thinking back to her mom saying, listen, all you gotta do is wish for it to get better and it'll get better. And so now here she is with Chihiro directly in front of her after killing all of the sorcerers who were guarding her. And he has a sandwich for her. And
he says this time it's not crushed.
This time the sandwich isn't crushed. And she's crying and saying like, oh my god, what took you so long to save me? And that's the end of chapter 15. What did you think of chapter 15?
Honestly, I think that was one of the best chapters. I liked how he just awakened a new power and just he learned how to use the sword way better. And even though he's injured, he won against everyone.
I'm realizing I don't like fight scenes.
I like the fight scenes.
No. I mean, I'm realizing, like, in general, I don't like reading about people fighting each other. Like, I care more about character interactions and, like, the power scaling of the universe than I do about two guys clashing swords against each other. Like, we talked about chapter 13, where it's the fight between the 5 guys and Sojo, and I'm just kind of zoned out from that, really. I don't care much. But this chapter of him just going around, alright, I have a way to kill these guys. They don't really have a way to defend against it, so they're all dead. That's my favorite. I'm realizing I don't really like fight scenes that much.
Yeah, I like the fight scenes, but I also like just one-sided main character being a badass.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I think I'd give that, like, an 8 or a 9.
I'd give that a 9.
Yeah.
Wow,
so you're just giving the same score as me?
This is some real good art.
Like,
looking over the chapters again, it's crazy the details that you miss on your first look through. And then once you go through again, you go, oh, that guy's head is gone.
Yeah. This really seems like one of those mangas where it's good to, you give it a once over when you're reading it, and then you analyze it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail and a lot of special attention given to a lot of stuff in it, and I appreciate that.
Pretty good.
So, where do we go from here? I hope the guy with Cloud Gouger dies. And I hope Chihiro takes the sword, and it's like, oh my god, my sword can absorb the other demon's swords. And I'm being completely sarcastic, because that would be really fucking dumb, and I hope that doesn't happen. He needs... Why are you smirking at me? Yeah, no, I liked it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. Chapters 16 through 19 next time.
Yep, 16 through 18.
Chapters 16 through 18 next time. Alright.
Yippee!
You guys have a good one. I already did my like and subscribe spiel earlier, so bye-bye.
Alright, appreciate you guys hanging out. Have a good one.
Eat a sandwich.
Eat a sandwich.
If you like Kagurabachi. If you're a fan of the Divine Fishbowl, eat a sandwich.
Also buy some goldfish and raise them with love and care.
Don't raise goldfish. Don't do that.
Yeah, you should get beta fish instead. Okay, bye!
Wait,